Hey guys, this is StarCraft 2 Strategy Guide Reviews, and I'm taking an inside look at Joanas Starcraft 2 Guide. Now, if you're not familiar with the name, he is a player in World of Warcraft, and a few years ago he broke some of the leveling speedrun records, and after that he built a leveling guide that was pretty popular, and I think is still selling pretty well as far as I know. But ever since the beta came out for StarCraft 2, he's been playing it, and he's kind of taken his gaming expertise and put together a guide for StarCraft 2. So I knew his name from Warcraft, and so I decided I'd take a look at this guide as well. And we'll quickly go over the sales page. He talks about kind of all the basics that a lot of the guides have. There's build orders, different race versus race breakdowns, and you can see that he really does have diamond in a lot of the different brackets there. And so, it's just all the standard stuff. So let's get into the meat of it, and I'll show you what you get when you buy it. So when you first come in, he's got this is the members area, and he's got some basics of StarCraft 2 play. He's got, and then it breaks down by each of the races. Of course, the campaign guide isn't quite out yet. I'm sure it will be soon enough, though. So in the basics area, what was interesting I found here was that he talks about Warcraft 3 versus StarCraft 2, and I hadn't really seen anyone else cover it, but thinking back on it, it's actually a good comparison to make, because it's more likely that a lot of people have experience with Warcraft 3 rather than the original StarCraft. Honestly, if you're watching this, you probably have experience with both, but it's good to think about in terms of Warcraft 3, because personally I've only thought about it in terms of StarCraft 1, and so there's a lot of good comparisons he makes and some contrasts that he's pointing out. Now, when you get into his guide, what you find is that he has a ton of content. He's definitely put a lot of work into this. And the other thing I like about all his articles is he's just a good writer. All his sentences are really clear and easy to understand. And he really is really just giving you this dump from his brain about everything he knows, and so that really comes through. He's got a nice article here about gameplay terms and definitions, which I really like. It's pretty thorough. Some of the other abbreviations and so on is nice to have as well. And then the other thing I think that's really good about his guide is that it's very well organized. The articles are all laid out into some of the common strategies, and then he's also got race versus race combinations and free-for-all strategies and team strategies as well. So I want to show you what it looks like when you get down into a specific strategy. So I'm going to look at the Reaper Rush for the Terrans. So here's what I really like that I haven't seen elsewhere, is that he's got this table here that shows you what the Reaper Rush is good against, when you should use it basically, and who you need to look out for. For example, if the Protoss have carriers and motherships, void rays, you might want to think twice about doing a Reaper Rush. So it's really good to have that. It's just a very clear layout, and it helps you with your unit tactics a lot, which I like. And again, he's very thorough in explaining how to do this, and he breaks down when to use it versus each of the races. So his thoroughness is fantastic. The other thing that he's got is a video demonstration. Now it's on a DivX player, so you might have to download the plugin for that. But you can see it here. I'll just pause it real quick. He puts it in high quality, so it's really easy to see. The other thing, super critical for me, if you're going to be paying money for a guide, you want that person's expert opinion. There's no links to YouTube videos like I saw in one of the other guides that I really didn't like, and it's all narrated by him. So definitely kudos to him for that. Now, the only thing about that, though, is that he doesn't have videos for everything, and that's really what I was hoping for, because I like the fact that I can read all about this, but I need to see it too. I'm kind of a visual learner, like a lot of people, and so I'd really like to see videos for every single one of these strategies that he's listing here. Granted, I'm sure it takes a lot of work to do those, so I have a lot of faith in him that he'll probably be releasing these over time. And that brings me into kind of another important point. When you're buying a guide, pay attention to whether it's a monthly fee or a one-time fee. I always recommend the guides that are a one-time fee, because what it really is it's a lifetime membership. You can always go back to the site and see the updates. So when the expansion comes out or new strategies kind of emerge on Battle.net, they usually get coverage in these guides. So definitely keep that in mind when you're going to buy a guide. Now, the only other thing that I would say about his guide that I was hoping to find and didn't, I didn't see any specific articles about build orders clearly laid out. I also didn't see any unit guide or building guide. Now, I know that a lot of the units and building stats themselves are on a lot of free wikis like Starcraft 2 Armory, that kind of place. But I'd still like to see kind of his take on each of the units, like when is the best time to use them and so on. That kind of thing. And I didn't really see that here. I don't know. Maybe my guess is that that's another one of those things. If he keeps working on the guide, he'll probably keep doing it. And I'll come back and check in 3 or 4 months down the road and see how it's developed and give you an update video on it as well, if you still haven't decided if you're going to buy a guide or not. So when it comes down to it, it's kind of a toss-up for me right now between Jonas and Shock's guide. There's a lot of things that Shock's has that's not in this guide. The Shock's has the unit guide. Oh, the other thing he has that Jonas doesn't have is a hotkey guide, and he's got videos showing you how to do the hotkeys. And I think that's kind of the difference in tone between the two. Shock's has a lot of the advanced strategies as well, but he's also a little bit more accessible to the newer players. So if you don't really have a lot of experience in RTS, I'd have to go ahead and give the recommendation to Shock's. But otherwise, honestly, I think that you're not going to regret buying either one of these. I think both of them are pretty good, and especially as time goes by. For me, the only other thing I would say is that I would probably actually still end up picking Shock's guide up right now, because it's got more video, and it's video from Shock's as well, which I like. But the other thing that Shock's does is that he lets you comment on all of his articles. And I really like the fact that, I personally, I like the interaction. I like meeting other players on StarCraft, and because I always find it, especially if I end up playing them on Battle.net, it's always more fun to play against people you know, in my opinion. But again, this is a kudos to Jonah for doing a great job on this guide. It's a ton of work. I think if you look at the word count, this is probably the biggest guide that's around right now, and definitely you wouldn't regret buying this one either. So that's all for this review. If you want to take a look at some of my other reviews or some of the other basic strategies that I've got on the site, go ahead and visit us, and hope to see you there. Thanks for watching.